Alright guys, so we have just pulled out, well actually this is a couple of days later, but we've got the pieces out of the oven. So POR, the high temp paint, they suggest that you put it in, it needs to reach the temperature 150 degrees for a minimum of 15 minutes. So I reckon I had these in the oven for like half an hour. After it reached, don't ask me why I've got an oven in the shed, but yeah, I do for the moment. So I didn't really want to piss the missus off too much by stinking out the oven inside. Turns out it doesn't stink, the oven, but I wasn't going to take that risk. They're all baked. The reason for baking it gets optimum hardness after you've reached that temperature for so long. So I just thought I would, instead of getting that temperature naturally on the car, if it would even get to that, I just made sure I did it before I put it on there. So, rebuild kit. This, just got it online. It's not a factory one, but it'll do the trick. So what we've got, now this is a twin piston. So we've got two of everything basically to do with the pistons. So two of the seals that go into the pistons, two of the boots that go over in the pistons or in the cylinder and over the piston. A little dust cap for the bleed nipple. Two boots for the slide pins and the rubber sleeve for one of the slide pins. So we're going to get to rebuilding it. Most of it's pretty straightforward, but there is a couple of little tricks of getting these boots on, so I'll show you that when we get to it. A couple other things you will need for this as well is some lubricant. This is the Bendix gear. I don't think I'll ever use that much in my life, but hey, I've got it. We'll get to that in a minute. And obviously brake fluid. So yeah, now I'm going to use brake fluid as a bit of a lubricant. You're going to want some form of lubricant, and I feel that because it's a brake, you may as well use the lubricant that it's going to end up being. So I'm just tipping a little tiny bit that I can dip my finger into the cap. First things first, you're going to want to put these cylinder seals straight into the cylinder. So I'm just giving it a bit of a lube up with the brake fluid. You want to sort of, they will be a relatively tight fit because it has to seal a fair pressure. Make sure it's all seated nicely and just get a little bit around there. That'll help you when you go to put the piston in. So do the same with the other one. Okay, so now with that cylinder in, you want to find your boot. Now there'll be a lip that locates into the caliper itself, which is that lip there. Hopefully you can see that. And then there'll be an opposite lip on this, generally on the smaller one. And now that slides over your piston. So what I have been doing, getting a bit of lube on the inside of the piston, and just pull your boot over that about halfway. And now you want to get that lip, the lip that seals in here, yeah. And you want to pull it over the edge of your cylinder, of your piston, like that. Now, you sort of want to get that bottom into that groove. I don't know if, hopefully you can see this. Get the bottom started, and you sort of work your way around
hopefully my fingers aren't in the way, but you sort of want to work from the bottom on both sides around the piston and get until you get to the top. And you kind of massage it in, as well as trying to get that piston in there to hold it as well at the same time. It is fiddly. So once you've got your, just have to check, make sure it's all in the bottom. You should see it sits nicely on the caliper body. And then just give it a wiggle. Because you put a bit of lube, a bit of brake fluid on the cylinder, on the piston rather, you should be able to just kind of wiggle it and get it to push in, and then push it right in, hopefully. Right in like that. And that is all nicely sealed around. Both sides are in the lip, in the groove for the boot, and that's one done. So we'll do the second one. Get that on the right way. And now pull your boot over the end of the cylinder. Now you want to get that lip started in the bottom, because it's the hardest part because you can't see it. And you just want to work your way up. There it is, got him. You just wiggle him. It will be tight, but you will get that. Just double check around it, make sure it's in. Wiggle him. You need to push that cylinder right in now to get that other lip caught on that. Just like that. So that is the tricky part done. There is a knack to it. Yeah, you can peel that back just gently and you make sure it's all properly in there. And yeah, you want to push them right in, because to get your brake pads over the disc, you need them completely compressed. Like I said, that's the tricky part done. We'll put that to the side. Grab your, I don't know what they call that, the slide mount maybe, I don't know. You've got 2 pins, slide pins. One of them has a sleeve, so first part is to get that on. Get a bit of your lubricant. Just rub him around there. And you just slide that over, a bit of a twist. Like that. Now, you have 2 boots. There is a big side and a small side. Your small side goes onto your pin. And put a little bit of lube inside that just to get it on. Put these on before you lube up your slide pin. Once again, just slide it up and twist it until it's all sitting into that groove. That's good. Do that with the other one. The reason I lube these up after that's on is because if you lube it up and you slide this over, you'll push all your grease off of that and it'll be up here in a mess. So just chuck a bit more, a little bit of lube on your finger and get it inside that boot to get moving a bit nicer. Get it up there and just twist it on. Give it a bit of a pull test. Yep, she's seated in the groove. Now, lube these up. Also put a bit in here. And the reason for that is because when you slide that in, these are a pretty snug fit.
So when you slide that in, that will all push around the outside, which is fine, but you'd still need some in the shaft as well. Next thing, now I don't actually know if this is critical, but I'll just put it back together how I pulled it out. So you got your bleed screw there, that can go in. I got all my fasteners re-zinced as well, so they all look Mickey Mouse. So put that in. That bleed screw needs to be at the top. So this is the left-hand brake. So that sits on the car like that. Bleed screw at the top. If there isn't a marking on your brake, this says left here. You can see that, L for left. That needs to be at the top, so any air is in the cylinder, gets popped out. If it's at the bottom, your air bubble will stay there. So the reason we want to know that, when I pull this apart, the slide pin with the rubber sleeve on it was at the bottom. So we need to just sit that there like that, work out which one is going to be at the bottom, which is this one, and now we just twist that in. I like to rotate it as I go. And same thing, just twist that boot and get him seated into his little groove, just like that. Get the other one with no sleeve, do the same thing. Bit of pressure down. Get your fingernails in there and just twist him around. Like that. Get rid of that excess lubricant. That's just going to attract any dust, so I'm just going to remove any of that excess. Next thing we need to do, it's all pretty straightforward from here. Slide pin bolts are in. They need to be torqued up. I think by memory, they were sitting at like a 50 newtons on this car. Front and rear are different. This one is more than this is the front. I'll just wind the banjo. Little fun fact for you, you can get these zinced and they won't clag up. It's pretty impressive, the zinc process. So I got even the banjo nuts, banjo bolts, got 2 copper washers there. I think they actually supply new copper washers in the Bendix kit. I'll show you that whole kit in a second. It's pretty, it's a one-stop shop, that mob. So yeah, there it is. Now we'll put our little retainer clips in while we're going. See that one in there, this one goes this side. All right, sweet. So just come over here and I'll show you what's included in this kit. What do we got? Front and rear braided extended brake lines. Now they do these for, depending on the size lift, this is a 4-inch lift because that's what I'm going to be putting in this. Comes with like copper washers, comes with the little clips, like everything you need. We got front and rear discs, all sitting there. They are slotted. It actually comes with a front and rear kit. This is all just, I've put it in one box for the purpose of this video. Handbrake shoes, front and rear brake pads, which we need. We need to grab them out. Yeah, everything you need just to redo your full kit on your brakes. So we'll chuck that back in there. I'll get to the discs in the next video, which will be putting the rear and front diffs completely together. So we'll chuck that stuff there. Even comes with some stubby holders. Okay, so last bit to this video is installing your brake pads. So, brake pads have a left and a right. If you look here carefully, I'm not sure if you can see that, but there's basically a model number, Ultimate Bendix left hand, LH. Also on the side of your, just an FYI, on the side of your pad it has basically the when you need a low level on your brakes, so replace it at that point. There is also on, these are the same, but on my rear ones, for instance, they have an in and an out. So you need to get that all correct, because some of them don't all have the other bits. Obviously different cars, different brakes. But yeah, basically these ones could go in or out. So we'll chuck the inside one in first. So you just want to clip them in. Make sure your spring retainers are all, you're not pushing against anything. They should be snug, but at the same time you shouldn't have to force too much. Push him onto your pistons. You don't really want to get grease or anything on these parts of the pads either. A recipe for a squealy brake, and one that may not work to 100% of its capabilities. So get the outside one in. And there it is. That is a completely refurbed caliper, rebuilt. Very, very happy with that. So that's the POR high temp paint. That's the silver version. Fully rebuilt with, I don't know, go online and get either genuine rebuild kit for your specific car, and also the Bendix brake pads. So that, other than bleeding the brakes, that is a full caliper rebuild. And if I don't say so myself, they look very, very nice. So 3 more to go, another front, 2 rears, and then we can bolt them back in.